Brighton's always had a buzz. There's always been great work coming out of this place. If you're very good and you have a vision and your work stands out, then great things will happen.
One of the things I'm really kind of passionate about is teaching other people about photography. No matter what you're into, there's going to be like a bunch of people who are like-minded. You shouldn't tailor your work to an audience that you're not really into, or a kind of style of working that you don't want to work in. And even if people don't like it at first, you'll always eventually find an audience for it, because you've always done what you want to do and you'll be more passionate about it.
You need to work hard, you need to be inspired by everything in the world and not just things within your area. You know, if you're a photographer, look outside of photography. You're an illustrator, look absolutely outside of illustration.
From being a kid, I've always drawn and coloured in, so it's just continued with me. I was never any good at anything else at school, so I've just continued being an illustrator. I love the challenge. I love the challenge of a brief. The thing that popped into mind was science and the discovery that the boffins that used to work on these machines with dials and levers and pulleys.
I never really know what I'm going to be doing until I leave the front door, work out where the moon's coming from. I know the surroundings quite well from doing years of moonlight photography, so I pick a location that I'm going to go to. The figure in there, me in my pyjamas, sort of staring out into oblivion, into nothing. And it feels like it's on the edge of the world, looking out. Every time I take a moonlit photograph, it's a sort of bit of a discovery, because you don't quite know what you're going to get until you finish the exposure.
I'm studying here in a study abroad program with the University of Sussex. I bring my camera with me everywhere. I think that's really key. The zoo had just shut its doors for the day. We could have gotten locked in there with the tigers, and they were kind of spraying everything with this thick mist, and that's when I took the picture. And it just has this amazing cinematic quality of two little boys on an adventure.
I think I started drawing from an early age, and ever since I've just always been drawing and doing things like that, and amazingly I'm able to somehow scrape a living out of it now. When I thought about Brighton, I thought about all the things I like about walking through it. Like when I first came to Brighton when I was young, getting off the train and walking through North Lane and seeing all the different things like the shoes on the telephone wires, things like that. So I tried to put all these things into a piece, and then like the wheel and the pavilion as well. I've been doing some work for some Chinese brands. I always like seeing like those lucky cats.
I think my bread and butter, I started doing live music photography, which is where my passion really lies. That's what I always go back to. I think my piece of work sort of shows the community in Brighton, and just like when you look through all the people's faces and stuff, it's just a passion, and it's just something about Brighton that like you don't really get that anywhere else. It's sort of just like everyone coming together, supporting the local music scene, as well as like touring bands and stuff like that, and it's just a great atmosphere and spirit about it, and I just think it shows that perfectly in one picture.
All I've been really interested in doodling at school, and then kind of got introduced to computers and the whole Photoshop thing, and then just kind of just went from there really. It's a picture of Isaac Newton. Just got the essential bits like the apple, and he was an alchemist, and so there's alchemist logos dotted about, and the formula for his gravitational formula. There's some bits and bobs there that are a bit geeky, but kind of relevant to him, and yeah, it's pretty straightforward really.
The thing about photography that I enjoy the most, I think, is capturing images when people are sort of natural and sort of catching them in the moment. I think it's really beautiful. The subject is my brother, who was 10 at the time, and he's sort of experimenting with lipstick and makeup. He's got whatever written on his knuckles. He is sort of discovering himself at that age, you know, where you start to think about gender and sexual orientation and stuff.
I do a lot of nocturnal landscapes, that's my predominant theme. I've had pictures where I've known I've wanted to take one, I've had to wait sort of a year and a half before I can take it, because it's always been raining on a full moon or something like that. Using light exposure and moonlight to make that a beautiful sort of glacial space was quite interesting to me. I just like the idea of transforming the space.
I think all photographers are kind of sentimental people, and they want to hold on to memories and things that they've done, so I definitely fall into that category. It was taken in New Orleans, the lower 9th district, which was one of the worst affected areas by Hurricane Katrina. There was still kind of redevelopment going on. It was just kind of my first impressions of what I thought of the place.
When I'm creating a piece of work, I try to dissect the brief and like put it into one sentence. It's basically based on the old English rhyme. There was a woman who swallowed a fly, who swallowed a spider to catch the fly, and blah blah blah. They wanted to know what had happened inside her body after swallowing all those different animals. And the story that I rewrote behind it was that the fly was all in her head, so it's buzzing around her brain. She never actually swallowed the fly in the first place.